Hey everyone, how's it going? I am iamxeracon and I am back once again. Today I'm going to give you some of my early impressions of GetsuFumaDen Undying Moon. I was originally going to record my initial experience playing the game, but OBS wasn't being nice to me during the recording process, so here we are. If you're unfamiliar with GetsuFumaDen Undying Moon, it's a game by Konami that succeeds the original GetsuFumaDen game that was a Japanese-only Famicom game. Unlike the original, which was a linear level-based game, this is a roguelike. Now, while I dabble with Rogue Legacy and Risk of Rain, Hades is the only roguelike that I have seriously put time into, so forgive me for sounding ignorant about the properties of roguelikes during this video. The game is currently in early access on Steam for $25, but will come to the Nintendo Switch next year. And I know that I am very vocal about not buying games at launch or early access, but this showed a lot of promise, even coming from Konami of all people. Also, keep in mind that this is not a review, just my initial impressions. I've only played about 4 hours of this game, but let's get started. The game starts off right away after a quick introduction, and then sends you right out. The ukiyo-e art style is one of the reasons I was so enamored when the trailer was released. While not the exact same due to the more anime aesthetic, it reminded me of Muramasa the Demon Blade, which was on the Wii and Vita. Also, games based on Japanese mythology are intriguing to me. The gameplay is pretty simple. You have an attack button, dodge roll, 2 sub-weapons, and a special ability that is unique to the type of weapon you're using. For example, the katana will allow you to counter certain attacks, the umbrella lets you block, and the dual blades create a flurry of attacks that can stagger enemies, though not always. Having such a variety of movesets allows players to create builds that suit their methods of play. Personally, the dual blades and katana are my favorite style of playing. When you start the game up after dying, and you will die, you will get 2 weapons to take with you, but you can find more in the levels. The katana is guaranteed, but your secondary weapon will be random, so you could get an umbrella, club, spear, anything. Sub-weapons like kunai, bows, and gauntlets will also be found in the levels while you play. Portals to weapon shops do appear in the levels, and finding them can allow you to get better weapons or sub-weapons, if you choose to. Weapons can be leveled up after finding enough material, but death will require you to activate any new abilities during the next playthrough. When you're able to get a weapon with good stats, you really feel powerful. The weapons you start off with can require you to hit enemies about 5 to 9 times depending on your weapon and the enemy. The Unnamed Katana generally has an attack power between 87 and 95. That's the default weapon you always start with, by the way. I found a katana that had an attack power of 249, and I felt invincible mowing down enemies. Well, until I died. Speaking of combat, it's pretty good, though even with the special weapon abilities, I wish you had 2 main forms of attacking, like a weak attack and a heavy attack. It would help me to not feel like I'm button mashing the same attack button. And while sub-weapons could be considered the answer, due to their limited ammo and low damage, at least with the ones that I used, they're best to be used to try to cheese archers who are being a pain in the butt in the distance or during boss fights. One complaint I have about combat is dodging attacks next to gaps. Even though the dodge rolls allow you to move only far enough to get behind an enemy, if you're dodging an enemy who is right next to a gap in the wall, the animation will continue and you will come out on the other side. This is really a problem if you're facing an enemy who can tank as many hits like the Oni. And while this hasn't occurred enough times to be a major problem thanks to procedural generation, it has occurred enough to be agitating. Another complaint, or half complaints I have, is with healing. You use LB to use potions, but you have to hold it down for about a second to use it. I don't know if the devs intended for it to work this way to prevent accidental potion chugging, since your supply is limited, but when I need to heal in the heat of the moment, I sometimes forget to hold it down and therefore miss my healing opportunity, which quite a few times leads to my death. The music and level designs are great. With the exception of the electric rock music during boss fights, the music sounds very traditional, and the backgrounds that you should take a moment to look at have great art designs that also contribute to the aesthetic of the time period that this game portrays. And while the locations of the boss portals change during your walkthroughs, there's still a general idea of where to go, at least based on what I've experienced. The levels aren't long either, so playing won't be tedious, which is good since you'll be going through the locations a lot. As a whole, I think that this game is a good experience and well worth the $25. Part of me wishes that they had made the game level-based instead of a roguelike, but I can still appreciate the move they made. If you decide to get it during early access, you'll also get a copy of the original GetsuFumaDen, though it is available only in Japanese. The OST and digital art book are also included, though the Steam page states that these will not be included in the base version of the game when it releases, only the deluxe version. I'm honestly surprised that Konami took a risk by making a sequel to a niche game that came out over 30 years ago, but they've managed to make a quality game that is reminiscent of the Konami games that I played when I was younger. This could honestly be their redemption arc, and I really hope that it is. But I must ask Konami to bring this game to PlayStation and Xbox as well. This game is worth bringing to those platforms as well. But that will do it for today. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. Let me know what you think of the game. Does it look interesting to you? Have you bought it already? Do you think this is the beginning of Konami making a comeback? Leave a comment below. So until next time everyone, I am Xeracon signing off. Have a good one.